Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Plastic Cards Podcast, the show where we break down the video game news of the week. My name is Fonzie. I'm joined by my co-host, indie game dev extraordinaire, Gavin Jones. I don't have a catchy phrase for you this time, Gavin, but how are you doing?
Great. Great. I'm ready.
You're ready to go.
We got a packed week. I feel like most of it was kind of backloaded, though. I feel like most of this happened Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah, we're always kind of
took a break.
Yeah, although a lot of stuff will happen on Mondays and often Tuesdays after we record is when stuff will happen, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Nice. Have a nice weekend. What'd you do over the weekend?
Just kind of hung out. Did stuff. Played a bit of some Scourgebringer.
Oh yeah,
we'll bring that up in a bit. What did you play?
I played some Dreams. I tried to understand more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you go Dreams surfing? Because that seems to be the cool thing.
I did. That's what I did
now.
First, because you have to unlock the ability to create a dream, a scenario, a game, which I found kind of frustrating because I just wanted to jump in, but I knew they were stopping you from jumping in because it can get complicated.
Right.
They don't want idiots jumping in and not knowing anything and then just going, hey, this sucks. So you have to do these non-negotiable tutorials.
Single player, right?
Yeah, well, there's that, but there's like, if you want to create stuff, there's these tutorials that you have to do in order for them to like give you the keys and let you start to create stuff.
Right.
So I found that frustrating, but I could tell they're doing that so I know what I'm doing, and then when I actually go and create stuff. So I haven't got to create anything yet, but I was surfing around on different dreams, and I have some footage of different dreams I'll show you. But
okay,
it is fun. It's cool. There's there's not a lot there yet, but I imagine once more people can get a hold of it and play it, because it's finally officially releasing. It's been in beta for a while.
Yeah.
But I like the $40 price tag too. I think that's fair.
That's such value.
Yeah, because you can get people in there. Yep. And it's
a
legit creation, engine. Like you can do whatever you want with this engine. You can do audio. You can do character design. You can create a game from the ground up, and
you can just make art.
You can just make art. Yeah, you can make a breakfast or whatever people were doing a couple of days ago. They're just like making these 4K lunch dishes that, so you can do that kind of stuff too. I mean, it's the sky's the limit, really.
I'm really looking forward to Dreams to see. Game jams are a huge thing in regular game dev. I'm really looking forward to seeing a Dreams game jam and just seeing people go absolutely nuts with it.
Yep.
It's something I wish would, and I hope this also brings back one of my other favorite franchises, but WarioWare DIY. Can we get that back now that we've got people making stuff again?
Explain that to me.
We'll do the mini games. So you've played WarioWare.
Yeah, well, I never played them, but I always remember watching a lot of footage of the different mini games and stuff. I just didn't know there was a creation tool or some kind of creative part of that.
Yeah, so I think it was the last WarioWare game, at least for the 3DS.
Yeah.
Maybe there was one for I think there was one for the Wii U, but I thought, I think the Wii U was the last one. But WarioWare DIY came out for, I want to say, the DS.
Gotcha.
And you could make your own mini games.
Okay.
And the creation suite for it and the programming was actually pretty impressive while keeping it very simple.
Yeah.
So I always thought it'd be nice to do like a game jam of like, how many of these mini games over a night can you do? Like people are given a theme, or each individual people.
So these are people creating their own, or is it is this an example of what you could do?
I think these were probably made by players.
Gotcha.
Because the art is bad. And like,
but the game wasn't too far off from this kind of stuff.
No, like absolutely. Like they, and I think almost all the mini games in WarioWare DIY from the devs were made in the engine. Like it's crazy to see. They just have better art.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's such a nuts franchise. So I want to see like more. A, bring this back, and then B, with Dreams, I just want the game jams. Like, how much can people whip out in such a short period of time? And people are already whipping out really cool stuff, especially when you can take stuff from other stuff, put it together, mash it up, just make levels. I think it's going to be really incredible with that game.
Yeah. I've just scratched the surface, so I'm not really sure,
right,
how easy or intuitive it is to create. That's my next worry. Is like, I think I'm committed, and I think there's going to be a lot of time spent just learning the tools, because I haven't even dipped into the idea of the AI or scripting, or because that's a whole bag of worms where it's like you have to get used to creating a scene and stitching levels together, and it's a whole thing. But
the camera work I'm definitely impressed by, because it seems like doing those little scenes and stuff. just happens very quickly, and it's very professional looking, and the lighting, like if nothing else, even the bad games look fantastic.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the tools there. Like just creating a backdrop, it all just looks awesome by default. So yeah, it's
I have my 5 squares, and they look god tier.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I want to see what happens with that whole, just the tools. It's almost like we need to really fast forward a year from now and then see what people, as they become really comfortable with the tools, what they create after that.
Right, absolutely. And I mean, the Little Big Planet community was crazy enough as was. They were making first-person shooters in an engine not built to make first-person shooters. So, yeah, this is going to be incredible.
You know what I did also jump into a little bit was Division 2. So they had that DLC pack they announced. I didn't buy that, but I did jump into the $3. It's like $2.99 for Division 2 across like PC and console. And I bought it, and I'm playing it, and it's pretty dope. I forgot how fun it is. I'm not super far into it, but yeah, I'm running around DC, and I'm only playing on my own because I just have no interest in
play with a group.
Finding random people.
It's literally built. It's designed to be played in a group, and it's super.
I get that.
It's super easy once you figure out. I know when I first played it, I was confused by the menus, so I kept like going into a level lower.
Yeah.
So I kept playing. I played the same mission like 20 times until I finally figured out how to play the mission I wanted to play.
Gotcha.
But it's really fun. People from higher levels will come down and play with you. Eventually, you'll get good and play down with lower people.
Okay.
And you'll just grind it out, and you'll have fun. And, I mean, it's just a good playing shooter.
Yeah, it seemed fun. I have no complaints about it. It's just, I don't know if I'm going to spend the time. Although the return to New York seems really interesting to me. I know we're watching trailer footage.
Oh, the new one's in New York?
Yeah, that's where the new DLC takes place. So they're bringing you back. Apparently, it's going back to that original story that happened in the first game, and I'm not sure exactly what happens. But I know there's that weird virus that happens on Black Friday, and it's like tied to some operative that was left behind, and he kind of just goes rogue, goes nuts, and you have to go and take him out. But yeah, so you're going back to New York, and that was a big deal.
I'd definitely be curious to see what kind of changes they make, because Destiny or not Destiny, but Division 1 came out, and it was just kind of an okay game, and then eventually became an amazing game. And the second one came out and is really good, and I'll be curious to see if they can continue to improve.
Did you finish Division 2, the original storyline? No. I know that there was a lot of not issues, but their whole thing is the end game, and like there's like not the blackout mode. There's like that. There's that region that's like the end
Dark
game.
Zone.
Dark Zone, yeah.
Yeah.
And so apparently for this DLC, they're really tweaking that to make it more appealing for people. But it's all stuff that when you read it, it's like it makes sense to active players. But me reading it, I go, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, but it sounds cool. But apparently they're listening to the community on that.
Yeah. It's definitely nice from like my roommate plays a lot of these live service games.
Oh, right.
And I think all of them really are kind of rage inducing.
Is that David Beckham there?
Whoever it is, he can get it. But it's interesting to see with this one, he tends to rage a lot less, and I'm very curious as to what exactly this game kind of does to make things less. I'm guessing it probably gives you a better sense of control than a lot of other games do.
Gotcha.
I know you're certainly a bullet sponge in these games, so it feels a little bit, when you're in a fight, if you lose, it's a bit more on you.
It seems like when I'm fighting other, NPCs, they're definitely bullet sponges. So I can see what you're.
Well, once you get like high tier, like they're definitely. I remember at least at the start with Division 2, once you're high tier, you could spec so much into healing or certain builds where you're essentially a tank and cover is pointless. So you're just gonna stand up and just one-on-one fight people, which was kind of neat, and you're still jumping around and throwing your grenades and stuff, but. It's cool. I just still wish with this game, and it's never going to change, and that's fine, but I still wish it had a more cartoony aesthetic to it to match the gameplay a little bit. This hyper-realism is a little bit weird, but it's such a cool game.
Do you think it's too similar to there's the other Ubisoft game where you're in the jungle, and it's very similar where it's behind the shoulder, third-person action group. But
Ghost Recon Wildlands?
Yeah, like Wildlands was the last one.
At least this isn't a buggy mess.
Gotcha. Well, I wonder, it's got to be the same engine though, right? So
probably
how are
not.
They, really?
No,
they
not
look very similar to
necessarily.
me.
I mean,
or why would
same
they not?
art style.
Same art style. Maybe
You're
that's
going
what
for
it is.
hyper-realism.
Gotcha. But apparently they're with Wildlands. I'm blanking on the name again. It seems like they don't reach the same kind of praise that they do with this with Division. But
this is like a somewhat massively multiplayer online game. It does
Gotcha.
a lot, yeah. But that one's also open world, but it's also a buggy mess.
See, and it's still Ubisoft, so they got to be sharing assets, sharing
Sure.
different things for their tech. So I wonder why it's functioning. But I would like to see on paper, okay, what are the teams, what are they doing?
Right.
And, yeah.
Right. Well, and like the previous Ghost Recon was a buggy mess, and then they released a new one very quickly after the previous one. It's like, all right, clearly you didn't have enough time.
That's the thing. It seemed a bit too fast, and maybe there's fatigue with that
Yeah.
whole franchise. But
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm sure a fatigued dev team.
right,
That's cool.
yeah. No, but I played a little bit of that. I do want to get more into it, and I can tell the bug that's starting to develop where it's like, oh, I feel the urge to play again. So I'm definitely going to jump in.
I definitely like to, and this was my issue with Destiny, is like this game isn't constantly giving me a better gun. Like I'm gonna play for a little bit, then it'll give me a better gun. Play for a little bit, then it'll give me a better gun. Like stop. Like that's what I really hated about Destiny 2 is every time I turned a corner, there's a gun with one more damage.
Right. And so you're dropping that, and that's what I kind of prefer with Call of Duty is that they really nail you stick with the same gun, but you're just adding the attachment and upgrading it that way, or you have your abilities you're upgrading. So I kind of prefer that style of doing it. But
yeah, it's kind of just preference at that point. Is how do you like that it performs, which is great.
Yep. Especially with Destiny, there was often armor or weapons that would look dope and feel cool and have the abilities I want, but then I have to dump it for something that's technically better, but like doesn't look how I want it to do, how I want it to look.
Right.
And they do let you transfer over. There's like engrams or some way you can change the paint on the thing, but it just doesn't.
Shaders.
Your shaders. It was.
I hate that they use that term.
Yeah, it wasn't.
The shader means something else in your game.
Sure. Yeah. On the nerd side of it, yes. Well, Gavin, we played some games. Let's go over some of the big news stories.
Sweet.
This one was pretty cool to see. We had the Sonic the Hedgehog movie came out, and it did awesome in the box office. So just to break down some of the details, is IGN's Matt Fowler writes, Sonic made a rather large boom at the box office over this President's Day weekend, racing past its initial predictions of 40 to 45 million to bring an estimated 57 million. Worldwide, it's brought in $100 million. Making it the best showing of all time for a video game movie, according to Variety. With Monday being a holiday, Sonic is expected to pull in $68 million domestically. Right. And the Rotten Tomatoes tomato meter is 64 as far as the actual reviews go, and the audience score is 95%.
This brings back that old that meme of the was it the "Am I out of touch?" No, it's the kids that are wrong.
Is that a meme? Okay.
Yeah, it's from The Simpsons.
Oh, gotcha.
It's kind of become a meme, but it was largely just a widely quoted thing.
That's awesome. Apparently, it's doing like financially better than Detective Pikachu, which was already like a widely selling.
It beat that, and that's supposed to be like a pretty.
It's the top one, I think, at the moment.
Yeah. The main complaint I've heard about this is like it's not a very good video game movie, but it's a really good kids movie. So
gotcha. Well, they have to strike a balance,
right? And this is for the kids, so fuck it.
Yeah.
How many of these kids even know who Sonic is aside from that terrible Sonic Boom like kid show?
Yeah. It's funny though, like with my nephews, they're around 8-7 years old, and they love Sonic, but they just know him from the games and stuff.
Right.
So there is like every generation there is a demand for. There's something about Sonic is appealing, the gameplay, just the character in general. So this is just going to reignite that for millions of kids.
Yeah.
To just bring them back on board. And so you got to imagine for sure there's a sequel now in development because anytime something works.
Apparently there's a post-credit scene that basically says there's going to be a sequel.
Gotcha. And there is a lot of Sonic lore in the in the games and stuff, so they could really start to talk more about like the Emeralds and the Robotnik guy more, and there's all these other characters from the Dreamcast games, and
right. If nothing else, we get more of what's his name as the voice actor, and he's phenomenal. So if he can just keep being in the film
John
industry.
Ralphio?
Yeah, John Ralphio. I don't know his actual name. I'll never know it.
It's Ben Schwartz. There we
Ben
go.
Schwartz.
Yeah.
There we go.
He's been doing a lot of promos for the movie, and he was on IGN, and they had him sit down with a speedrunner who speedruns Mario 2. Not Mario 2. Jesus. Sonic 2.
Sonic 2.
And he's speedrunning it, and he's actually doing like a bad job. And so Ben is just kind of like just roasting him, but it's fun. It's a hilarious video. It's like he spends 20 minutes and they just talk about other stuff too, and along with Sonic. But he's actually like a a pretty big nerd. Like he knows he's played Sonic.
Sure.
I guess
Yeah.
he did stuff with Game Grumps where he did not Game
That's
Jams, but
right. He
speedruns
did.
with them.
Yeah. No, it was Game Grumps.
Yeah.
It's always weird to see him because like when he does his characters on Parks and Rec, like he's so iconic as this like big annoying character, but then you see him in an interview and he's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of like or like that. Like he almost reminds me of. I put him up there with like the one guy from Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Did you ever watch that?
Which guy?
Her roommate.
Oh, Tyson, not Tyson.
Yeah, who's nothing like that. And like
Tyson Fury, but he's something Andromedon.
Tyson Andromedon.
Yeah.
Yeah, who's like he's this big over the top character, and then in real life you're just chill.
Yeah.
It's like my brain can't handle that. These people are.
And that Ben Schwartz guy is actually really funny and like really fast with his
Yeah.
comedy. So like I can tell he can almost do like stand up or something. He's just, but yeah, in those interviews he's hilarious. And then Jim Carrey's
We
doing a
got
lot
Jim
of promotional
Carrey
stuff.
being classic Jim Carrey, which we haven't really gotten in a while.
And see, I'm hearing that apparently his role is super funny in the movie, and it's
Sure.
more like that Ace Ventura kind of like physical comedy that he's done in the past. So that's a no-brainer for me. Like I want to watch this, but I was trying to convince Megan to go see it over the weekend. She's like, I have no fucking desire to see it. I said, you know,
Tell
that's
you
fair.
what, Saturday we'll go see it.
Dude, let's go.
It's too bad we can't see it at the theater that serves beer.
Oh yeah, because I want to get blasted and watch this. Want to take some LSD and watch Sonic the Hedgehog.
Can you imagine? Like, it'd still be weird to see, with the old CG Sonic, how this would.
I'm hoping I'm sure it's way too expensive and unnecessary, but maybe in the DVD have the Blu-ray have an option to toggle back and forth, like you can with remakes in games where you can go back and forth between like the newer version, the old version.
Well, you were right with the unnecessary and too inexpensive.
Right?
Like, there's for
nobody, but it'd be
shots
hilarious.
that existed for that trailer are the only shots that existed.
Yeah, that's true, and it's painstaking kind of attention to detail. You have to go and like redo this stuff, so there's no way they would offer that. But I would like
maybe with a Kickstarter we can release the Schneider cut of the Sonic movie. That would be
Sure.
great. Now I got to see though, like the fact that it outdid Detective Pikachu, and I heard Detective Pikachu was really good. So
Yeah, I haven't
I
seen it yet,
want
but,
to. I gotta watch. I don't know which one. I assume I'll watch Sonic first, and then I'll go watch Detective Pikachu.
You can rent
compare,
Detective
contrast.
Pikachu now. It's like $4.
Right. Well, I need to own Detective Pikachu.
You're right.
Okay.
I'm disappointed you don't already own it.
That's pretty awesome.
Well, Gavin, that was our first news story. We talked a little bit about the second one here. Divisions 2 New York update is exactly what the game needs right now. This is from GameSpot. Alessandro Filari goes over the details. The Division 2 largely made good on the concept of an open-world looter shooter over the course of its first year. The Division 2's post-launch campaign fleshed out its gameplay and narrative set within a post-collapse, I was going to say apocalyptic, post-collapse Washington, D.C., but now players are in for a return trip to where it all started, New York City. Set for release on March 3rd for PS4, Xbox One, and PC, Warlords of New York is the first major expansion for the Division 2 as a $30 standalone expansion that marks the beginning of Year 2 content. And I think it was a brilliant idea on them to dramatically bring the price down of the Division 2 core, like actual mode of it for $3, and then all you got to do is jump in for that standalone DLC. But I wonder if the DLC going back to New York for $30 is that the entire map of Division 1, or are you going to different boroughs, different parts of Manhattan, or New York? I'm not sure, but I wonder.
That is a question for someone who plays that game.
Yeah, well, you played more than I do, but you initially had, and we talked about it just recently, but you had a lot of positive feelings about Division 2. It seems like they're on the right track.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, it's a fun game. So even if you get to the end and you don't play it, you probably got your money's worth of a solid shooter.
Gotcha.
And especially if you play those seriously, like play some missions with some people. It's a good time.
Somehow I'll get linked with your roommate that just like yells uncontrollably. I'll be in his party.
It's actually, but no, because he's way leveled up higher than you,
gotcha.
so you'd never get in there with him.
I see. Well, one day. I'll just knock on his door one day.
It is too bad that we can't crossplay together. I think it'd be fun because I'm not.
Yeah.
I could easily reset back to the start. I
think
don't even have
console you can cross-play, but I'm not sure even with that. But that seems more likely.
I don't
than
even
the
think
PC.
that is.
Yeah, you might be right.
Right.
I've done no research on it. Just my balls tell me that I think it's console cross.
There's one thing as a species we've done wrong for a long time is let our balls make decisions and make up facts for us.
Well, that's also how the Eiffel Tower got built, Gavin. You gotta pick and choose your battles.
I want my penis shape to be normalized. I'm gonna build the Eiffel Tower.
There's no effigies to like to balls in general. There's a lot of like penis shaped effigies. You know, there's the Washington
balls
Monument.
are kind of like the lame sidekick.
But they also store the whole reason to have a penis in the first place. So why there's just no love for that.
I don't think that. Well, and we've had this discussion. Like I've talked to like people before about like if you had to lose a ball, would you get like a whatchamacallit?
Like a filler ball, like a
like a fake one in there. And most people say no.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's no love for the twins.
Right. Yeah. I think, I would put something in there. I don't know, like a
sand
USB drive or whatever I can like next time I go to the library, I can, plug in that way. But, yeah, you're right. I wonder it's not replicated in like in actual design in places, but the penis is everywhere. Yeah. And like just in art. But
I think it's just the fact that the penis just looks like stuff.
Yeah.
And stuff looks like the penis.
It's true.
So you make a big tower.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's a penis. Well, no.
Yeah, but that drawing there for the brick, like
yeah, the brick it's definitely a penis.
That's a penis.
Well, Gavin, our next article here is about the PS5 report. Sony struggling with the PS5 cost, price point uncertain. And we'll get into this, Gavin, and just talk out of our ass. But Polygon's Michael McWhirter writes, Sony is struggling with costly parts driven by high demand for memory components that could drive the price of the PS5 to around $500, according to a report from Bloomberg. To make. Okay, gotcha. Well, no. So the current manufacturing cost of the PS5, Bloomberg says, is around $450. And I guess
I thought they said $475. Maybe okay. So let's say $450 because they're not.
As far as like the bare minimum, here's what the components cost: $450. And I guess to pull out of this, the debate is: do they stick to $450? Do they go to $500? How much can they afford to cut to be competitive with the Xbox?
Well, the other thing too is, so this is how much it costs to make. Somebody's going to mark this up. Walmart's not going to be like, oh, I'm happy with a $50 sell on this. Fuck that.
Well, do they get paid regardless from Sony? Like, do they buy from Sony at whatever cost and then they sell it? I'm not sure how.
No, they mark it up.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
But is it up to them to just mark it up how much they want, or there's still that suggested retail price though, right?
So what they will typically do is they can mark it up whatever they want. There's a suggested retail price, and then they'll also have a minimum price. And what that allows is there a restriction of a competitive advantage. So like, let's say you can't go below $600. So that means other people, they aren't forced to be as competitive.
Gotcha.
Which is fair, especially starting out.
Okay.
That's not fair to other people if somebody's going to go crazy low and scoop in all that volume, especially when there's going to be shortages. And right now, there's definitely going to be shortages.
Apparently, yeah. And we'll get into it, but coronavirus is affecting other industries, and one of them is video game industry.
RAM memory.
And so the article goes further in detail. A competition for DRAM and NAND flash memory, I'm going to shorten it there, are said to be driving up costs. But Bloomberg also reports that Sony is using an especially expensive cooling system for PS5. A common complaint about the company's current generation console, the PlayStation 4, is loud fan noise due to heat dissipation.
And that's both consoles, though, right? That's the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox?
Well, the Xbox One X is actually super silent. But the PS4 Pro that I have is like a jet carrier taking off for flight. But yeah.
I didn't know the Xbox One X is...
it is, at least in comparison to each other. I definitely noticed the sound on the PS4 when it's booting up. So to finish off, Bloomberg says Sony is taking a wait-and-see approach, meaning waiting to see how Microsoft prices its Xbox Series X console to setting the PS5's price. But if Sony follows a familiar or similar pricing model for PS5 as it did with the launch of PS4, a price of $499 for the PS5 seems possible, if not very likely.
No.
Both the PS5 and Xbox Series X are planned to launch during the holiday quarter this year. So you say no to that. What's your theory if you're going to throw some money
also,
down?
I feel like cutoff was Bloomberg probably also said, now I'm not quoting, but they were probably at least thinking about saying, vote for me, and I will buy each person a...
Sure. Is this like legit tied to, what's his face, Bloomberg, Michael Bloomberg? Or?
That's his company.
Okay. Gotcha. Didn't realize that.
Yeah.
What are you thinking then if you're theorizing what's the out of the gate price?
I don't think they're going to lose. I mean, that has been historically a thing where consoles, you lose money on the console itself. You sell for less than you made it for. And then you make your money back on exclusives, right?
Okay.
I don't think exclusives are worth what they used to be.
Mm.
Unless you're Nintendo, in which you just shit exclusives and print gold.
Sure. Although Sony has the most, if you're comparing it to Xbox, they
Oh,
have
yeah.
they're
the only one then.
Yeah, the strongest
them and Nintendo.
exclusives.
Yeah, but yeah, it's not the market it used to be when you could do that. So people don't really do that. At least Nintendo hasn't for like ever. And it's too risky. I think they need to make money off the console. Other people are going to need to mark it up. It's a fucked situation. And I do wonder how much of it's going to come down to, that cooling system they said.
I think that $499 price doesn't seem impossible to me. I think when it's all said and done, I feel like $500 isn't nuts. I don't know about the Xbox One X or Series X rather. I feel like they would definitely take it at a loss just to be more competitive and maybe stick to $500, $550. As we leave that price range, even though these devices demand that price range, I think it turns off a lot of consumers and they just stick with their current gen, device.
I'm still saying 700, 800 for both of them.
Gotcha. I would say 500. I'm sticking with that. If we're playing not Jeopardy, but Price is Right, then we're next to each other on the little deals.
You're supposed to go over plus $1.
Well, I'll say 501, and you can stick with your 10,000 or whatever amount. But we'll see. I mean, we're very close to these launches. What is this? This is holiday 2020, so we got a couple
10 months, man.
Yeah, they got to start fucking showing us what's going on.
Showing us that money. Speaking of that money, though, did you see the apparently next gen game from People Can Fly and
yes, let's
how
watch
is that?
Well, I haven't watched the footage, so let's check that out. Actually, I was waiting for you.
I'll save my hot take that you basically just got the gist of, but.
Well, you're talking about Outriders.
Yeah.
It's from Square Enix, coming holiday 2020. It's confirmed PS5 and Xbox Series X versions. I guess are confirmed, but it's the current gen. So before we get into the trailer, Adam Bankhurst has all the details from IGN. A brand new trailer for Square Enix's Outriders has revealed that it will be launching holiday 2020 for all current gen and next gen. Outriders' newest trailer shows more of the 1 to 3 player drop-in, drop-out co-op third-person shooter that takes place on the ruined world of Enoch.
It's sort of a bit of Gears of War gameplay mixed with sort of the Destiny live service game, loot and shoot. The visual style is a lot of people pointing out is reminiscent of Remnant almost. I think that's the name of the game. Wow, that is a Gears of War slide if I've ever seen one in my existence.
That's pretty dope.
This is a weird comment. I think those numbers popping up above the enemies need a little bit of work.
You think I found them distracting at first glance, but so this original trailer is from
Make
GameSpot.
them like pop off. There's so many better numbers ways you could do that. This doesn't look next gen. It barely looks Xbox 360.
Are we seeing footage from those, or we're seeing current gen footage? I'm not sure.
I assume this is current gen.
Yeah.
I like the art style. Definitely looks Revenant or whatever it's called.
Is there a style? I'm not sure.
There's a bit of a style to it with
and this might
the
not
color
be the
grading
best.
and sort of the destructive way the world is built.
Gotcha. I want to see more of a trailer too to kind of show off some of the.
They do have one. It's kind of long and very story based. So
interesting.
you have abilities. Whoa. I think that's going to be the big thing is you're going to be using your abilities a lot more.
Gotcha.
Kind of Destiny style. I really hope one of my biggest things that I wish Destiny had done with his abilities made them smaller. That's cool. Did you see all those bullets slowly
I did
going
not catch
through
that.
the warp?
No.
Because
you had kind of like a barrier or something you were creating right around you.
Yeah, it was like a bullet time thing, and there was just like 10 bullets slowly advancing through it. That was cool.
Now, this is People Can Fly, which are Gears the team, or does it just have that influence?
Well, yeah, I guess they did work on a Gears game, that one that wasn't numbered.
There's like Judgment, or there's something like that.
It may have been Judgment. That sounds right. So you get these cool moves.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I think that's... I'm just hoping you get to use them often. That was my thing that bugged me about Destiny is like I have these cool moves, but I use them every, minute.
Yeah, I remember that, and I would waste it because I would die instantly, and then it's like,
I want this like Borderlands or Overwatch style where you're constantly throwing abilities, you're shooting in between. Just give me these fun decisions.
Gotcha.
But yeah, for looter shooter fans, I think the style is cool. I think it could be a good game.
The gunplay looks solid.
Yeah, but we don't know much. I hope it's good. But yeah, People Can Fly made that one ridiculous game where you had the leash and you're trying to make big combos. It was a first-person shooter. I forget what it was called.
I had a leash. Interesting.
Yeah, it was a fun game.
Yeah.
It was relatively popular. It was kind of Duke Nukem-esque in an era with no Duke.
So
Nukem.
Bulletstorm is what you're talking about?
Bulletstorm, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. And that's I know people really dug
Painkiller,
that.
that's right. Yeah, that was on some of the articles. People were writing like stuff they worked on, and people in the comments like cries in Painkiller. Yeah, Bulletstorm. The one thing I hate about, I think I've complained about that before. Bulletstorm, I bought it on Steam while it was unplayable.
Oh, was that the one you got a refund on?
No, I should try.
Okay.
Oh yeah, they worked on Fortnite Save the World.
Yeah, they co-developed with Epic Games. Interesting.
Yeah, worked on one of the biggest titles that people almost played.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's. I hope it's good, man. I do. I like cover-based shooters.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm definitely interested. I'm hoping. I'm not super like as far as putting that into context of next gen games. That didn't look like next gen gameplay.
No.
But still, I don't know if we're seeing
And
that.
that's the thing too. With these next gen games, I want more than next gen graphics. I want next gen gameplay.
Yeah.
And right now, we're getting the built-in light engine with
Right.
What's it
The
called?
RTX stuff
yeah.
or the ray tracing.
Yeah.
And a lot of this, if it's not proprietary or if it's like third party, then oftentimes that switch over to the next gen doesn't look that great until a couple of years. You see like these games are just developed from the ground up for these different consoles.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yep.
Let's see. We were talking about PS5.
Sony, yep.
We have different takes on that. What'd you think of Geoff Keighley leaving E3?
I think it was interesting that I think he framed it as like he didn't like where it's. Yeah. So if the article, Geoff Keighley is not going to be hosting E3 for I forget what press syndicate he normally does it for.
Yeah.
But one thing I think he said he doesn't like where it's gone or what it's kind of become, which it really hasn't changed. Maybe he just wants it to be more of a celebration of games, but it's not necessary in this day and age in its current format. It needs to change into more of a PAX or something else. Which sucks because, man, like when we were teenagers, I mean, I still remember being a kid and no one else knew what E3 was.
Yeah.
And I think it always happened while I was like visiting my grandparents. So I'd be on their computer every day. And really there's only like 1 or 2 days worth of updates, but I'm still checking them every day. Nintendo.com, because that was the only source of news I knew. And then the magazines that I remember like in high school, I bought like these DVDs where I saw Gears of War and I'm like, oh my God, it's so amazing. It looks like claymation. Or some other, like tons of other PlayStation 3, like, and Xbox games that never fucking came out.
Yeah, a lot of them were just, they showed them off and just were canceled.
I think I watched the Killzone 2 trailer like about 1 million times.
Sure. I'm right there with you. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, E3 is not what it was, and I think Geoff Keighley's, he's
what was it
wrecking
before? It was a Vegas show, right? Was it the
still is.
consumer?
Well, I guess
electronic
it's
show?
been at LA and stuff. I think it's kind of been all over, mainly in LA. But it's E3 is the Electronic Entertainment Expo, and it was it's how you get your game on Walmart shelves,
right? But now it's just not
and,
relevant in that degree. But
yeah, you don't need to go somewhere to see.
Right? Yeah, you can do it all with live streams. I mean, that's how I ingest E3 news, just through live streams.
Yeah.
So maybe they can lean harder on that and not have a.
I mean, it was also a pre-email world.
Sure.
With E3, so.
Although it's funny because this stuff was never on TV; it was only through the internet, so it really only
Right.
existed that way. But it was still huge.
A little bit with, I mean, what was
With
it?
G4?
G4, yeah.
Sure. That's
G4,
true.
and even before that, what was it? Spike TV or whatever?
Yeah,
Spike
yeah.
TV was definitely covering it with their one channel they have with Elizabeth Munn and what's his...
That was Attack of the Show. Yeah, that's what absorbed E3 or G4 after that.
Right.
Yeah, they turned it into that
Yeah.
Frankenstein version of that. But yeah, he has some quotes here. So yeah, the original article from Steven Totilo of Kotaku. Earlier Wednesday, this is February 12th, longtime E3 participant Geoff Keighley announced he wouldn't be involved with the show this year. He says, quote, "I've made the difficult decision to decline to produce E3 Coliseum. he announced on Twitter, referring to the series of live stream developer interviews he had put together for the last few years. For the first time in 25 years, I will not be participating in E3. Keighley had attended every E3 since the show began. Damn.
Since I was 6.
Yeah.
Geoff Keighley, how do you look this young? Now, bear in mind, he was a kid. He stated before he was a kid when he started journalism.
Really? Jeez.
Yeah, there was. Oh, you haven't heard about that?
No.
He started writing articles for somebody, and they didn't know he was a kid. And that was his thing. Is like on the internet, people don't have to know you're a kid.
Just cashing those checks. Again, my mom and dad to cash.
I mean, he was a good writer, and he was putting out this stuff. But
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It just shows, just how passionate it is. I think it blends to what he does. I mean,
Yeah.
the fact that he's seeing the writing on the wall or seeing the change that's not happening with E3 is a big deal.
Right. I mean, with Sony back, was the second year gone? People are backing out left and right. Like,
Yeah.
At this point, there's going to come a year where it's going to be the indie mega booth and Xbox.
Yeah,
And
which
that's
maybe
it.
that's fine. I don't know.
Right.
But yeah.
I mean, I'm so glad Microsoft's coming. I still want them to just destroy the stage with announcements again. Because that's one of my highlights of the year is when Microsoft.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
just, Yeah.
Although I didn't realize this, but Microsoft hasn't been there physically. They have another, not stadium, but another area that they will
They
do
do
their
it at a
press
separate
conference. Right.
place, which is not uncommon. That's how Nintendo did it. That's
Gotcha.
how Sony did it. No one.
So there's
no one
just
really
less
does
and
it
less
at
of a
it.
need then to physically meet up at this place that
Right.
they've been running in LA. So why not just go to live streaming? I'm not sure. But and maybe that's part of the issues that
Well,
Geoff
that's
Keighley
what we're
has.
gonna miss, right? It's like the Super Bowl wouldn't be the same if it were an empty stadium with
Sure.
these people playing. That's not. No one's gonna watch.
That's
that.
true. Yeah, that's true. Although we're
Although-
all watching it at home anyways. But
Right,
Yeah.
and people still watch the XFL. Those stadiums are empty. Oh,
Yeah, that's going
I
on
don't
right
know
now.
anything. That's probably not true.
It's rough for XFL, but yeah, they're just happening right now.
I can't believe it's still going.
Yeah, well, it died a while ago, and they brought it back to life. I remember
they
that when
did
I was a
bring it
kid.
back.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. It's just recently, like this is the first year that they brought it back. But he has a quote here. Geoff Keighley says, "I think E3 needs to become more digital and global." He said in a Twitter reply to someone asking about his decision. "It's a brand that means a lot to people, but it shouldn't just be a show floor." He didn't elaborate further on what he thought E3 was doing wrong. The Entertainment Software Association, the industry group that runs E3, each year didn't provide many clues themselves. They also had that big data leak last year, which was huge.
That was pretty bad.
Yeah, just like a disregard to people's, privacy and safety. But
You mentioned, does it have to do with money? He says it wasn't. I mean, he's rich.
yeah, so it's not
He
a matter of
doesn't fucking
right,
care.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, one fan on Twitter asked him if the issue was actually money. He replied, a quote, "Wasn't really anything to do with that. We honestly didn't even get that far." So
Right.
there was obviously, before they even brought up that, he was having issues with their decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bummer, but it's a lot of stuff writing on the wall for E3. I think they'll just have to, if they want to stay live, stay relevant, they'll just have to change to something else. If they don't, maybe they'll run the risk of just not being as popular.
I mean, in my mind, they have to turn themselves into a PAX, but not just be any PAX. They have to be the mega PAX. This is the definitive go to.
Although
Yeah.
PAX is eating their lunch. I mean, they're having these spread out events. They're maybe more slimmed down where they can financially function longer. I don't know if it's an issue with that with
Right.
E3 here, if it's too expensive, but it seems like PAX is just doing everything correctly.
Well, it's definitely very expensive for these devs to come out. Like showing a game at one of these things is, unless you use some of the tricks that, and even then they're still tremendously expensive.
Oh, sure,
So, and these, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes, Gavin. In other Geoff Keighley news, Gavin, because I always think of him with this game, but Half-Life, we got.
Why?
I don't know, just because he's so intertwined with like he's doing these documentaries with Valve, and he got to visit Valve, and he's known about it for a couple months without spilling the beans.
That's right.
But not really, but in my mind he does. But Half-Life Alyx release date set for March 23rd, but Valve Index remains sold out. This is Aaron Millet.
shit.
Yeah, Aaron Mimit of Digital Trends. Before we get into it, yeah, so it was a big deal that they confirmed, because I think they had March set, but not the actual date in March, right?
Right.
And so they actually give them March 23rd. How do you feel? Is that too soon for you? Are you ready to go? I mean, we're never going to play this, but it
I was
still
not
is.
expecting it that soon. Like,
Yeah.
I wish we'd had a little bit more time to pucker my butthole a little bit more.
Gotcha.
But that being
Yeah.
said, like, I don't know, just attack people with this title and hope it doesn't suck. Like, get us.
Right. I don't think there's, well, I mean, this is me without any knowledge, but I think there's no way it can suck, but it can also not have enough places to go. Like you can have an install base that isn't that big. I think there's no way, I'm going to say there's no way it can suck. I'm going to say that and walk away
Right.
from it.
I think the important thing to note here, though, is they say Valve Index remains sold out. You can play this on all of them.
You can, but it seems like that's
very
the way
important.
that they're hoping people
Right.
play it. It's also $1,000 on top of your
It's
PC.
$1,000,
Yeah.
but I think that's why it was a very smart decision for them to let this game be played on everything.
Sure.
You can play this game, and that's very cool. Man, I hope this game doesn't suck.
I don't think it will, but I'm talking out of my ass, but I don't think it will. Just at least from the footage they've shown, visually it looks fucking nuts.
Right.
I just can't imagine how and they also, I imagine these devs understand the huge weight that's on their shoulders to not fuck it up. So, and if need be, they would just push it further down if they needed more time, because they already, this was not known that they were working on this for, within the past couple months. So they could have just kept pushing this far further down the line. I think they chose to come out of the woodwork because they're ready and proud of what they've made. Because I think Valve works on stuff and absorbs it and deletes it, all the time. So they could have chose to do this with this project if it wasn't going the right direction, also, but they didn't. That just tells me, okay, I'm thinking that they're proud of this.
Right.
But that's all well and fine. But if there isn't enough people, enough of an install base to play this, then financially it could just flounder. So they need people with the actual ability to play this game.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. I mean, there's Digital Trends goes into detail on it. Aaron Mamet writes, while delays in video game releases have become normal in the industry, Valve is sticking with the promised March release window for Half-Life Alyx. Players will be able to enjoy a 10% discount of the $60 price tag of the virtual reality exclusive if they pre-order it. Half-Life Alyx is actually free for those who are able to purchase the Valve Index VR headset, but apparently it's sold out, and supply or demand has outweighed supply.
I'd be curious if coronavirus is affecting that one as well.
Well, it seems like this one sold out before it was an issue, but I don't know. But yeah, I wonder across the board, these things that are in these complicated electronics are it's hard to get them now because of this. All these little doodads that they use. Now, Gavin, our next article we just talked about. So Dreams came out. It seems like it was never going to come out. It finally did this week.
Oh, we did it.
Yeah.
I do remember when I Twitch streamed, there was somebody who I talked to who actually did testing for Dreams.
Oh, really?
And there was definitely it had an identity crisis for the longest time.
I imagine, yeah.
And
because I imagine they're thinking, okay, are we just making a set of tools? Are we making a game? What do we do here?
Right. But now it's just fuck off. I will say I saw a trailer for it the other day on YouTube, or like a launch trailer for it.
Yeah.
It was just like quick jumping, like it was like an old shitty PlayStation commercial like they did back for the PlayStation 3, and it told me nothing about the game.
Gotcha.
Was that ski free? Are we making a skateboard? Oh, I think the only major complaint I've really heard about it is like all the controls kind of suck for everything.
Oh, really?
So you have to but
is that just up to the community to further manipulate it, or just by default the tools?
I think it's partially by default. There's something they need to tweak in there, which is nervous that it's been in here that long, and that's an issue. But you can make God, you can just make.
Well, I know Little Big Planet was always kind of floaty, maybe a little too floaty for me. So I don't know if that's also.
It's not. That made it into the trailer. Yeah. Awesome. That's cool. And that little slimy thing, you played it. That's your default controller.
Yes. Although I see where it's hidden sometimes, so I think there is a way to hide it.
Yeah, and like, man, the visuals on this just nonstop pretty. Good God.
Yeah, just by default, like the lighting.
Hey, somebody talked in chat. I'm sorry, we've been ignoring you for.
That is Megan. She wrote the 3 Illuminati signs. So.
Oh, okay. The fact that she knows how to emote is that actually Megan?
Yeah.
Somebody made a Pixar game in this? How is that possible?
It all looks like it could be Pixar.
God, it's just gorgeous. And yeah, you can just go dream surfing, and that's absolutely incredible. Yep. Some of these talented. I was watching a little bit of someone working in it yesterday. He was doing a lot of complex tracking on an Excel spreadsheet with his variables and stuff, which makes me a little bit nervous as to code bloat and how that's going to make things hard to make. But
like he was outside of the actual game.
Yeah, he was doing stuff in Excel to keep track of stuff that he was doing in the game.
Oh, gotcha.
And I saw him working with some variables, and I was like, and I mean, at the end of the day, I just wish you could do it with
Yeah, yeah. There's games that are on PS4 that have keyboard and mouse support, so I feel like it's not the end of the world to let you. Because I'm thinking of like if I want to create a character and you can basically paint in the game and 3D model in the game, I don't want to use my controller to do that. I know you can buy the wands.
Writing out text, how slow is that?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm hoping there's a way around that.
The wand, yeah, I heard there's like a video called Magic or something where somebody makes something in like a couple of minutes and they make it
With
really
the wand?
impressive. Yeah, with with the 2 wands. 'Cause
Gotcha.
You can
Right.
dual wand.
Yeah, and you can move stuff around, manipulate it. But,
in VR.
Well, do you have to use VR? Or can you use those wands and just look at your TV?
I imagine you can do it without it, but I imagine the VR helps. Like especially
That's
if you're
true.
making levels and you're just like,
Right. I just don't want to also have to buy this thing. I mean, I do want to buy that VR headset eventually, but it's like I want to be able to quickly jump in there. I already paid $40. That's all I want to do at this point.
Right.
And start making stuff.
It is generally impressive the amount of moods people can make with it, how accurately they can. There's another name.
It's still making. Just says everything looks good.
That's 2 different names.
You gotta trust your boy, Gavin.
Just your boy.
So some of the Metacritic and early takes of Dreams PS4 are in. Destructoid gave it a 95. There's a quote from Destructoid. I don't think anyone but Media Molecule could have nailed Dreams. It is truly one of a kind. They also had 10 years or something, but that's a joke. I think they had like 7, but they're pros at this. And so I fully support them continuing to do this kind of thing. Right. And I just hope that people buy it and, support it. But IGN also gave it a 90. It's a cliche, but Dreams really is something that needs to be played to fully grasp an understanding of. It's unlike anything else, an ambitious project that has been expertly brought it to life by Media Molecule. And an audacious...
I'll make it through that sentence.
I don't know. I'm going to die halfway through. And an audacious experiment in game design that gives you endless ways to enjoy your time with it. Right. GameSpot has a review in progress. So far, it's a fascinating and frequently breathtaking game. It's already the reviews are pretty positive for it. Yeah. So it's just a matter of does it transfer financially? Are people playing this? But some of these footages, the footage I have. So like this first one here is of
this is the song they picked.
Yeah, it's somebody recreating the Joker on the steps. It's pretty awesome. I mean, already 10 out of 10 for this kind of thing. They could charge $60 for this little intro here. Just the jagged animation.
Oh, God, make it stop.
I'm wondering how they got the song in the game. Did they record it externally?
I think they just recorded it.
Just on their mic or whatever? Yeah, it kind of sounds like that.
Oh, God. We're going to get a takedown for that.
Are we? On Twitch, is there much...
Twitch can mute. Well, Twitch will sometimes mute it if you're not talking over it. With YouTube, when we post this on YouTube, it'll...
Well, they can come to my house and directly talk to me.
Are you gonna tempt YouTube on that one?
Yes, because they don't know we exist.
Dead Space. And Dead Space, I feel like has been worked on for a while.
Yeah.
So I expect this to look...
Let's see. That's the same one.
I don't think you copied it.
I don't think your mom copied it. Oh, yeah. So the next one is Dreams PS4. I need you to stop, please. Thank you. They recreated Dead Space on here, so let's check that out. Okay. Well, it looks cool.
His gun doesn't really do much, but
no, is it firing? Or just no animation for it or something?
Yeah, no. In fact, that alien, the way the alien died, I think looks really good. The lighting is super creepy. Like you can seriously do any mood
seems like
you want with this lighting. Oh, this reminds me. There was this game I played a little bit of this weekend. Just kind of started called The Tourist.
That sounds familiar.
Visually, it's just fucking gorgeous on the Switch.
I feel like I've seen that on the marketplace, but it's on the
Switch, and there's a Y somewhere in it. I think between the R and the ST.
Really? Well, Google will tell me. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, and it's made by a company that's known for making like gorgeous games on Nintendo consoles for years and years. They made Fast Racing R or whatever it's called, Fast Racing. They made this GBA, like they made this like crazy 3D looking GBA game.
Yeah.
Like when you're actually playing this, it looks really good.
Looks like a voxel style.
Yeah.
It's adorable.
Yeah.
So what are you doing in the game?
You're collecting those things.
Oh.
I've yet to collect one. But yeah, just it actually, when you see it on your screen, it's really pretty how crisp it is
Already,
compared to
yeah,
a lot
I
of
can tell.
other Switch games out there.
It's actually super awesome.
Yeah. Oh, and you can play.
Oh, nice.
Anywho, that was sorry.
I see.
Short
Gotcha.
tangent. Short tangent.
I'll have to check that out. How much was that on the Switch?
$20. It was. I mean, it's it cost full 20, but
Yeah.
Fallout 3. This one is super impressive.
We haven't seen this yet. I'm definitely excited to see it.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
No,
yet?
this one. I just saw the intro and I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to copy and paste this over.
Yeah.
Already, I mean, it looks like you're watching the normal intro to
Right.
Fallout 4.
Well, I think he tried to kind of recreate some of the intro or the trailer.
That's really
bits.
nuts.
Yeah, the background looks fantastic. Oh, he did make Nuka-Cola signs. This is not what I saw.
Okay, was it actually like gameplay or something?
Oh.
He might go into gameplay here.
Okay, yeah, this is a bit more. Yeah, he's got fucking crazy menus. Apparently.
I haven't seen anyone do any kind of multiplayer thing with Dreams yet, but I feel like that's possible, right? I feel like
I'm guessing
said-
it's not possible. If we haven't seen it, it's probably one of those
That's
things
true.
where it just couldn't be done.
Dude, it already looks. How does it look like it runs better than the original Fallout engine already?
Well, I mean, you were playing it on console, so
Yeah.
that's your fault for it running that poorly.
Well, I guess notoriously it was very buggy. Like the Fallout games are
Yeah.
very buggy.
Got Mr. Handy having conversations with him. The gun looks like the gun.
Wow.
Oh my god, he's got the music.
Yep.
He's got the Pip
The
Boy.
Pip Boy is on point too.
I
Damn.
can't- Yeah, like that's a really good Pip Boy. So it's tremendously impressive. I think the frustrating thing is like
Wow.
he's even got the health bar above it. My concern is I don't know, like when you get these, I really don't know how far you can take these. He's also got to deal with loading zones and stuff like that
Sure.
you wouldn't this game used a lot of streaming.
Yeah, how's it look to string different things together as far as like where does this
Right.
level end and you load the next one?
Yeah, and I don't think you can stream in this game quite like that. I think you have to just
Gotcha.
load.
Well, then, do you think to pull out of this, do you think we'll see any kind of full release of a Dreams title? Like, what's the end goal look like? Say you spend a year working on a game in Dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Can you release this thing outside of Dreams? Is it only in Dreams? Is there any kind of like, can you get paid at all with this? Is that future just look really murky?
I think a full Dreams game is going to look different than games that we're used to.
Gotcha.
It's going to be a different kind of thing.
But could someone create a 4 or 5 hour experience in Dreams? It's a Dreams game just built from the ground up.
Maybe.
And then there's no kind of, you just can't get paid off that, right? Like what's
There's no way.
There's no way. That's a bummer because I imagine Sony or Media Molecule just owns the rights to whatever you create.
Yeah. Well, to a certain degree, like this, clearly they don't own the rights to this.
Yeah, that's true.
There's-
When it's a recreation like this, yeah,
Right.
for sure. But
And
if you
that's
create
always
your
one of
own-
those weird things I never fully understand is like, how do you do this custom content? Like there are games like Beat Saber or, what was that one? Sound Dodger, where like people can upload songs that are clearly copyrighted.
Oh, sure.
But since it's user content, it's okay. Like it's very
Well, there was stuff
confusing
like,
how all this stuff works.
do you remember Rock Band or Guitar Hero had a way you could create your own song and upload it? And I think they were constantly getting takedowns because of course people were going to make songs that exist, and then
Right.
they were just getting removed. But I wondered then what's the point almost if you create this awesome set of tools that's super detailed to let people basically create a game, but then you can't actually put this thing out anywhere else. You can't make any money off of this. So I wonder if that's just not the point. The point is to just have fun and create.
Yeah, just
but then
make
why?
stuff.
But the tools are so detailed though. So it's like you could potentially.
Well,
if you
that
work
allows
hard
you to
enough-
make crazier and crazier stuff. It's also
Cool.
going to allow people to like prototype stuff super quick. Like maybe you want to
Mm.
make a game. I'll just hammer something out real quick in Dreams, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
Oh, there's stuff like you've messed with not RPG Maker, but there's that other engine.
Maker?
Game Maker.
Yeah,
So that's a game where if you created something off of that engine, you still own whatever you created, right?
yeah,
So is there any kind of deal you think that's possible with this, even though this is tied to a console?
not a shot in hell.
Really, damn. So
I
what would
mean,
they?
but it's not like let's say somebody comes up with an idea for a platformer in this, and then they go make it in an actual engine and sell it.
Gotcha.
It's not Media Molecule's property.
Sure.
It's their property.
Is there no way that you could pay Media Molecule, I don't know, X amount of whatever you make, or $5 to just say, hey, I'm going to take the rights of what I created in Dreams and use it somewhere else? Like, is that impossible?
Yeah, but you're going to make it in a different engine.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah. Well, I'm just wondering, what can people actually, make a career creating games on Dream?
I mean, maybe if they're getting all the clicks on the Insta.
That's true.
And the YouTubes and stuff.
But then they still have
to make their money a different way.
Right.
Via Patreon or.
But so you spend all that time in Dreams. It's like, cool, you can run a Kickstarter for a game to make somewhere else, but you go to the other software. It's like, I don't know how to use the software, so I can kickstart a project to make a game somewhere else that I don't know how to use that tech.
I mean, it's like you're asking. I mean, you got to understand what you're saying is like it's kind of like saying you're mad at training wheels because people are complaining that you're using training wheels later.
Sure,
it's like,
And I'm not necessarily
learn
mad.
how to ride a fucking bike.
Right. I'm not necessarily mad. It's just like these tools are so detailed.
Yeah.
You could make a game, but then you just can't use it anywhere else or make it anywhere else. There's no way to like make money off of it. But that's happening outside of it. Exactly. Yeah. I wonder if there's some way you could tweak that, but at the moment you cannot. But yeah, people still creating cool stuff. There's PT is one of the other games somebody's making. This one looked like it was influenced by Skyrim, but it wasn't a direct rip off of it. So I wanted to kind of showcase this one here on Dreams. So I'm going to full screen this.
Almost looks like
or Conan, which was a game.
Conan or
recently.
Ark. It reminds me a lot of Ark due to lighting. Again, and whatever mood you want to make.
Yeah.
Game's going to look pretty no matter what you do. I'm very curious how texture works.
Yeah. A lot of textures kind of look. Well, I mean, like they're able to create rocky stuff, grass and whatnot. But sometimes there's like a default. If you don't do anything, there's this kind of default applied texture to everything.
Yeah. Well, somebody in the comments saying like, "Isn't it just a newer version of Project Spark?" Like I do imagine somebody.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I've heard someone mention like, I bet Microsoft is kicking themselves a little bit right now for ditching Spark, and the answer is maybe.
Did they abandon that? I do remember that being a thing. And
yeah, I really don't know how much you could even do with it before they abandon it, which is too bad. I remember Conquer was going to be in it.
Really? This one's more of a potential tech demo, but B5 voice input. And it's this robot. We talk about texture. It's got kind of this metal texture to it.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's trying to say, but...
Already better lip syncing than Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah, and this is just the first week of Dream stuff, so we'll see where that goes. But yeah. Pretty stoked. Gavin, our next story is Detroit Become Human Success allows Quantic Dream to self-publish future games.
We probably don't need to go too in-depth.
Nope, gotcha.
It's kind of just a nice one to touch on. But yeah, their success big enough they can self-publish, so they can continue to make this shit as absolutely
nuts,
crazy nutso as they possibly want. I can't believe they actually made enough money back to do that.
Apparently, that was just from Detroit alone, right? From releasing that. I loved Heavy Rain. I love Detroit. There's that one I always blank on the name before all of these. That was like Fahrenheit.
Indigo Prophecy.
Indigo, there you go.
Yeah.
I need to go back and play that, but I always love this style of game. There's now other games doing this, or other devs doing the same kind of thing.
Yeah,
so I just there's that Butterfly one weird game with the horror PS4 game.
Made in the Dances.
Yes,
whatever.
there you go. Yep.
Their original game, whatchamacallit it?
It was a teenager. I was gonna say rom-com, but that's not it.
Yeah.
But there's that, and that's just becoming more and more popular. But and so I support them doing their thing. I like it's definitely an interesting route to take. I like the PS4.
You on the right scene?
Just like showing the texture or the text rather, not the texture. I like the PlayStation letting them, just like releasing them basically because they never owned Quantic Dream, but they had like some kind of deal together to release stuff together. Yeah. And so it seems like they still own the properties and they're able to put them out elsewhere.
I also can't believe Detroit Become Human was the one that broke the camel's back and got them into that because I don't remember that game being especially well loved.
Gotcha. I guess more loved than the one before that, which also gets removed from here, is the one with Juno. Yeah, Beyond Two Souls. And that also like shit the bed apparently like critically.
Right.
I had a good time with Detroit. I feel like they maybe theme wise or like the overarching story they're trying to say fell flat for a lot of people, but I enjoyed my time with it.
I at least appreciate that it shows you like what all you didn't see.
Yeah,
when you
that
do
was pretty dope
something.
because
Yeah.
it encourages you to replay it and figure out those things again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with them. They were apparently working on a next gen game too, so that should be pretty dope.
Ooh, their budget. Maybe they won't be able to self-publish when they.
Like, you know what we found out? Sony, what are you doing? Can we get back on that teat?
How much these things could cost now that we can do.
Now, Gavin, we've talked about the coronavirus. It's a pretty big deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's also affecting games. Of course, it's killing people, which is way more important, but
Right.
it's affecting games at the same
stopped,
time.
there was a game show out in China that was stopped.
Really?
It's
What were they doing in the game show?
slowed production on Outer Worlds.
Oh, really?
Yeah, those employees have been told to stay home.
Gotcha.
And Nintendo, the factory making the Switches, just can't.
Yeah, and apparently it's right before what Animal Crossing comes out, so we'll see how that works. But
Right.
so Nintendo is likely to suffer global Switch shortages from virus. This is from Takashi Mochizuki, and I haven't pulled up the actual outlet that they're from. I'll find that. So Nintendo Co. is likely to struggle to supply sufficient Switch consoles to its U.S. and European markets as soon as April due to a production bottleneck caused by the coronavirus outbreak, according to people with knowledge of the company's supply chain. Limited component supply coming out of China is affecting output at a Nintendo assembly partners factory in Vietnam, which the gaming giant primarily uses to build consoles for the U.S. Said the people, asking not to be named because the details are private. A shortage of components this month would affect Switch units scheduled for arrival in April after existing inventory and current shipments of the console have sold through. The potential slowdown would deal a blow to the Kyoto-based company, which is preparing to release a major new installment in the hit Animal Crossing game franchise on March 20th. Nintendo apologized earlier this month when it announced that Switch hardware and accessory shipments to Japan would be constrained by a virus-imposed production shutdown in China. Quote, "We do not see any major impact on the shipment to the U.S. currently, but we will remain vigilant and take steps if necessary," a Nintendo spokesperson told Bloomberg News. It's possible the supply would be affected by the virus if it becomes more widespread and prolonged.
So Bloomberg News.
Bloomberg I want to say sometimes they quote other articles or other outlets in that
Which
same
is
one.
possible, yeah.
But I want to say that's where it came from. Yeah, it's pretty, it's unfortunate, but also it's the reality that we're in right now with coronavirus.
Yeah.
Killing people and fucking shit up. So
It's a scary one.
yeah.
It's just so viral. Yeah.
It hasn't hit home mentally for me how big of a deal it is, but I think it's just because we're seemingly far removed from what's going on. But there's still
Right.
cases in the U.S. that
Well, we
you
also
hear
have an
about.
American healthcare system.
Sure, yeah.
So-
But I don't know how viral this thing is because all it takes is, people go on planes all the time. We're always next to each other. All we need is something crazy like this to happen. But yep. Gavin, this one was interesting. We've talked a little bit about this in the past. So Nintendo PlayStation prototype console will be the most expensive video game item ever. Current bid is at $35,000. This is that PlayStation Nintendo collab they worked on, a prototype that made its rounds. Andrew Smith of IGN writes, "One of the rarest pieces of gaming history, the Nintendo PlayStation, is currently up for auction and has become the most expensive item in gaming history. As the auction continues, bids for the Nintendo PlayStation exceed $105,000 earlier today, officially making it the most expensive gaming item to date, according to Video Game History Foundation's Kelsey Lewin. The prototype was designed to play NES cartridges and CD games, but never came to fruition after Nintendo publicly walked away from its official deal with Sony at the 1991 Consumer Electronics Show. Owner Terry Diebold announced last year that he would auction off the prototype this February, showing that he has turned down $1 million offers for the system over the years. Diebold told Kotaku that he has decided to part with one of gaming's rarest treasures because it has become quite expensive to continually showcase the Nintendo PlayStation over the years. It's pretty nuts. I like seeing just how this machine looks because it's like this weird
Right.
mixture of PlayStation and Nintendo that shouldn't exist, but it's like a weird or Super Nintendo almost.
Yeah.
But yeah. Are you going to put your bids on this?
Yeah, absolutely. Mortgage my life for
There
that
you go.
one.
Yeah. Gavin, I know you're a big fan of this game. Enjoyable Mega Man inspired procedural roguelike 20XX is getting a sequel.
Yeah, so I can talk about this. We don't need the article. So
You got it.
there's a game that came out, we'll say 5 years ago-ish. 20XX, it was basically, pause that for a sec. It was basically Mega Man X as a roguelike game.
Yeah.
And it took a really good route on it where, so you start in a level and then you defeat a boss and then you get a choice of 1 of 3 levels to go through next. and then you go through that and you defeat another boss and you're getting powered up along the way. The bosses actually get harder along the way. They'll have new phases. So it was just, there's a tremendous amount of content. The levels very nicely got harder as it went. It was just absolutely fantastic. And I don't feel like enough people played it, but apparently they did, because not only is it getting a sequel, but it's not being kickstarted. So they made enough money back. Okay, and this was one of the big complaints about the original, was its visual style. It did kind of look like a Flash game. And now it looks like a proper Mega Man game. Have you seen the trailer for this yet?
No.
Okay, so this would be a good one. We can show this off.
I haven't heard of this project at all, so I'm actually pretty stoked to be learning about this.
This is a sequel. I
so
mean, this looks like fucking Mega Man.
Yeah. So this isn't existing in the Mega Man universe, but it's highly influenced by, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Gotcha.
It wears its influences on its sleeve. Clearly, this character, she's kind of like Mega Man, and then there's another character who's basically, there you go. That's Zero or X or whatever his name. I think Zero.
Oh, sure, okay.
And yeah, just God, it's so fucking pretty. Which that was the big complaint. Online co-op, I'm a little bit nervous. Last time the online co-op had some serious lag issues where it would rewind you.
Especially
and then,
this, you really have to be, there's just so much attention to detail in your response to controls.
Yeah. God, it just looks pretty. And that's what people are going to want. And if they throw as much content into this as they did in the last one, it's years. If you're good at those kinds of games, that's years worth of content for you to play. There you go.
This is from Kotaku here.
Kotaku
So this is footage of 20XX. Now, was the original this one kickstarted at all, or is this just from the ground up?
I want to say it was kickstarted, but I could not confirm. Actually, this looks...
I see the Flash game vibes, though.
Even slightly better than the last time I played. I feel like they updated her character, but everything else, it kind of looks like this.
And they went more pixelated in the 30XX.
Yeah.
Which is a good decision, I think.
And that's I think a later on boss. I'm seeing some stuff that maybe I'm not used to fighting.
Oh.
But you can still go play this game and have an absolute blast. The movement feels super good. It rewards skill.
Yeah.
Nuts. Small nuts. Got that nut.
What's with the nut play there?
The nut play. Gotta love the nut play. It's good to see. I think that new visual style is really going to get people on board, but the existing game is so damn fun.
That's dope.
And the way you play from run to run is really different. That's really cool.
So they just announced that the sequel is happening, it looks like, right? And with that trailer.
And it's not being kickstarted. That is something I'd like to touch on lightly, though. Mm-hmm. So another roguelite that I was playing this weekend was Scourgebringer.
Right, yeah.
So Scourgebringer, I'm a little concerned about it.
Really?
So Scourgebringer, it's a gorgeous 2D style. It says it's kind of a roguelike, but it doesn't really feel like it. So I beat the
because you're Mr. Roguelike, like that's all you. That's a near.
I have a ton. I actually put them all into one folder on Steam today.
Really? That is your jam, for sure.
It was a big folder. There are also a large percentage of the games that are still installed on Steam. Most of my Steam games I uninstall after a while of not playing in my roguelites.
So then what's turning you off, or what are your concerns with this?
So I beat it, and it was about 3 worlds long. My biggest concern is this enemy variety. Almost all these enemies are some variation on a floating circular-ish thing.
Okay.
To like between the first world and the second world, there's like a cacodemon, 2 style of cacodemons, and one shoots 3 projectiles in a row, and one shoots a small spread of 3. And it's like, that's not that fucking different. Yeah. And there's really, to a certain degree, that's another thing I should point out. The level generation largely sucks. And it can vary from like an okay level to like you're just one long string of levels. And that's really, really not fun.
Gotcha.
You're not exploring a maze. You're not solving something. So they definitely need to solve that. And you're seeing everything in this game right now. You saw the final boss.
In this trailer? Really?
Yeah. So I think they went to early access a little bit too soon. But yeah, I really dig the gameplay, and the gameplay though is part of the concern. The only way to play this game is extremely aggressive. You need to get in people's face.
Gotcha.
When somebody else is about to get in your face, you take the person that you're in their face with, charge through them into the next person, and start wailing on you wail on them all together, which is really cool. But I don't see how you're going to play any other way. They finally tuned this game for there to be one way to play. The power-ups don't make you feel different. The items don't really make you feel different.
Okay.
Every single run I play of this game feels the exact same. And then, the enemies feel kind of samey. They start to repeat, which is fine. But yeah, we've already kind of dried up on content this quickly. I feel like it went, and especially when you look at the volume of content, like, I hope they can put out more quickly.
Gotcha.
But
like
yeah,
another DLC kind of thing, or
they just need more content. It's not DLC at this point. They need to finish this game. They need to keep working. And I can't really see where the end point is. Is this now? How are they going to change up, making the gameplay different? Are you going to have multiple characters? Which in the lore doesn't make sense. That girl right there with the giant fro is sort of humanity's last chance. So you can't really swap her out, or maybe you can. Maybe they'll make that. But yeah, it does. Crazy as it is, like they have those little cannons on the side of the walls. Those are some of the more interesting enemies because, again, they're not the same fucking enemy.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's really fun to play. But yeah, it does really feel the same. I don't feel like I'm ever very powerful, which is cool because you can still win even if you're not, getting your damage up. But that being said, your damage isn't getting up, so there's no increasing threat. You're kind of just going through the really cool motions.
Right.
But yeah, now that I've beaten it, I don't feel the need to beat it again.
I see. And that's the whole thing, that it should be replayable because of the generating aspect of it.
Yeah.
You mentioned there's some kind of similarities in the gameplay with like Doom, with the last Doom 2016, just in the incentivizing you to like get up close.
Yeah, you get into arena, the metal music starts up. The music in this is really cool. Yeah, so you get into the arena, the metal music still starts up, you kill all the enemies, and then you go on to the next arena. And it very much do the way you have this little combo in the corner.
Yeah.
So killing enemies quickly will get your combo meter up, which will allow you to get more blood, which is currency.
Oh, right.
So you want to be pushing forward. And also, even with the base content, if you're not pushing forward, somebody's going to hit you from an angle. So you need to eliminate enemies quick. You need to take enemies with you to beat up other enemies.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it's very fast paced and frenetic. Yeah, you saw it there. Like he took that big thing up with him and beat up on the other thing. But yeah, I'm just really concerned as it's currently slating itself as a roguelite. It doesn't feel like a roguelite. The RPG elements are so light they don't matter. And yeah, I have concerns. I really want this game to be good, but
what do they do to improve then? Do they just start working on the sequel to this? Do they tweak this current game?
No, you can't do a sequel. It's not a full game yet.
Oh, it's still in their early access, right?
Yeah, it's still in early access. Just came out in early access. I think one thing for sure, you need more enemies besides floating circles. You need, I like the cannons on the side. There's these little drill things later that are fun.
Mm-hmm.
You need, give me something that'll leap. Give me something that'll zigzag across the room. You need so much more variety than what it currently has. The one strong thing it has is all these enemies are really low threat, but it throws a bunch of it at you at once at weird angles. The other kind of weakness it has is it's so low resolution. There's only so much room design you can pack in.
Oh, okay. How are the boss battles? Do they hold up on their own?
They're fun.
Okay.
They're fun. They're a challenge. They got cool patterns. Even when you're good at them, they're still a challenge to come out unscathed.
That was the whole thing with Cuphead. I know they're kind of like started with the boss battles first and then developed the other stuff around it.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think it's really cool, gorgeous, but I'm really concerned about the design. You can pick up different guns. It doesn't matter. I still don't even use the gun most of the time. The only time I'll use the gun is like if I'm fighting a boss, I can shoot and slash at the same time, so I'll just empty out my bullets on the boss.
Gotcha. I think I've yet to see that in the gameplay we're watching too, use of a gun.
Right. There's this cool little mode where there's an ability you have. I think they need, that's the thing. They need to take every way you deal damage and make it so it can be changed. They need to make your gun, maybe it's not a gun, maybe it's an alternative move. They need to make your main weapon change up, and maybe you want to change that up so you can get more powerful. They need to change your secondary ability to something else. You need to be able to swap this stuff up and make runs feel unique. And if you don't upgrade your weapons, they're going to be underpowered. it needs more RPG. And again, make the level generation stop sucking.
Gotcha.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, well, it's in early access, so they could potentially start to
Yeah.
modify this and add these features. And
right. I guess that's my biggest concern is though, like any early access thing. Now, bear in mind, maybe with like Nuclear Throne, I came into that like not super early on, and they still had a lot to add. But like there was so much variety from the get go with every early access title I played.
gotcha.
So that's where it's got me concerned.
I see.
But still a lot of fun
Yeah,
for your first run through. Yeah.
gotcha. Yeah, I still need to play this. I think it's on Game Pass, but I don't think it's on console yet. I think it's just on PC. But yeah,
Right. Yeah. It is on Game Pass for sure.
gotcha. Well, yeah, I'm hoping they make those improvements. Gavin, you are a huge CS:GO fan.
Huge.
Our next article is former CS:GO pro says Riot's upcoming shooter has potential to be huge. I know we watched some of the like very short gameplay they've shown off.
Yeah,
this
they
game
didn't
so
show
far.
much.
Yeah, just like kind of concept stuff. But I like the idea of with this Riot game, them blending the Overwatch stuff with like more of a realistic take on it.
And I think the best one I read, I want to say was from Game Informer, but maybe I'm wrong. So it's saying this Henry G fella here. It's really interesting. Basically, this competitive Counter-Strike player, seeing his take on it, and that's who. When I first saw footage of this, I'm like, that's the market they're going after. Is this market that really hasn't been competed after in a while? You could almost say maybe that Rainbow Six Siege is going after this market a little bit, but not really. A Counter-Strike, like maybe the closest thing would be a Dirty Bomb. I don't know what to compare it really to.
You know what? Not the same at all. But what about PUBG?
Not the same at all.
Gotcha. There we go.
But yeah, no one's going after the same kind of gameplay where you see an enemy, it's that lightning quick. You know, you get that headshot, and the abilities. You know, you're using your grenades tactically. So it and the way he talks about when he played it is it does play a lot like a Counter-Strike. Well, yes, there are abilities. They're not typically going to get your kills. Your kills are going to come from your gunplay.
I see.
These are sort of your smoke grenades. They're your regular grenades. Your abilities are to supplement your badass shooting ability, which, I mean...
That's cool. I like that idea because, you're not feeling like somebody had some kind of edge over you because you used whatever ability.
Yeah, exactly. So give these Counter-Strike players something to play. And then I guess you buy the abilities too. So I'm a little bit, I guess if I understand it correctly, and I'm not saying I do, but if I understand it correctly, you pick your character and that'll affect what abilities you can buy in the store, which is fantastic.
Okay.
So it is still a character shooter. By doing well, you can buy more expensive stuff.
Gotcha.
In the next rounds. I know that was a big thing they talked about in the announcement is their ping. It's got promise, and the fact that we've got professional Counter-Strike player saying, "Yo, this could be the next Counter-Strike," and it looks like, to me, that's one of the things too I don't like about watching competitive Counter-Strike games is I think visually it's not pretty, and it didn't get pretty when they went to Go. It got prettier.
Gotcha.
And this looks visually very pretty, so it could be.
Do you think I'm not familiar with exactly when CS:GO or when Counter-Strike rather kind of started to take over? Was there any kind of roughness out of the gate, or did the community kind of latch on when it was fully fleshed out? Like, I wonder, is there a worry with them kind of working through this title to make sure it's not as buggy? Because they can't fuck up at all with this kind of thing.
I don't think Go had much of an issue. I know like there was a weird transition from Counter-Strike to Counter-Strike Source when they switched to the Source engine.
I just don't find that community that forgiving if this comes out.
Absolutely
and has,
not.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So they really have to nail a lot of these things.
Yes, they do. So,
but also they would understand that, and so they're really not going to
Nope.
come out with this unless they're ready to put up a fight. But, yeah.
But at the same time, they're basically, and this is, you see this happen with like, Path of the Exile and these other dungeon crawlers that came out and kind of took that Diablo space. There are spaces in gaming where there's only one game and there's no competition.
Yeah.
Come in and take that cake.
Yep.
So,
no, yeah, that's a great idea.
and you've got a rabid fan base to begin with. So this will be cool. I really hope it works.
Nice. Yeah, me too. Gavin, we talked earlier about Rainbow Six Siege. So there's a new character, a new ability. Two of them. Gotcha. Now take over. What's going on with this Rainbow Six Siege?
So we got, I don't know either of their names.
Gotcha. I will find it.
Yeah, there was a big tournament that happened this weekend. I think it was like a championship, and they announced 2 new characters. There's a gal who has a hologram. She can make a hologram of herself. She can see it from the hologram's perspective, move about, can't deal damage, but she looks just like her, so people may shoot her by mistake.
Gotcha.
It's pretty neat. Has certain weaknesses.
Now I'm seeing 2 characters, Oryx and then Void Edge. Or is that the
That's the
character
name of
set?
the expansion.
Okay, gotcha.
So
I see.
he's Oryx.
I'm gonna go get some lunch while you talk about this then.
I mean, I don't know that much, but
Okay.
yeah, she's got a pretty cool move. And then the gentleman Oryx or whatever his name is, like he'll just charge through a fucking wall at you.
Yeah, so this is what I remember seeing gifs of is this guy just running through.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this Oryx guy, gotcha.
Yeah, and that's so cool, especially for as you meant. Oh, and now you have something you can do against a riot shield, whereas beforehand you just had to deal with it. He can climb up through those, or he can just jump up and peek. Her hair looks weird, like she
kind of like a mop, but okay. So she's teleporting and
yeah.
Interesting.
Well, not teleporting, but she can.
Oh, projecting.
She's got the clone. You can shoot it. It's affected by jammers. It has a fair amount of things that can affect it. There's one character with a temperature sensor, and he does take damage when he bursts through certain walls. So I forget which walls he doesn't. But yeah, his character just looks fucking cool.
There's a scene in the first Daniel Craig James Bond where he blasts through a wall, and it's fucking badass. Yeah. So just if you could somehow put that character's model on this, that'd be pretty dope.
Right.
Now I feel like with Rainbow Six they lean more on the realism. So it seems with having spent years not watching a lot of this gameplay, it seems like this is more in the sci-fi or like kind of fantasy side of it. But
right, pretty shortly after the start, it became less and less realistic.
Okay.
Which was a smart decision. So there you go. He downed himself because he didn't have enough health.
Oh, that's really cool.
You take like 10 health when you burst through a wall.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it got less ridiculous, or it got more ridiculous. You get, medics with a gun that can heal you.
Okay, I see.
You're getting...
I've seen like Halloween stuff they put out, but see, I didn't realize it was kind of blending over.
Yeah, they've definitely had a lot more unrealistic. I mean, their drones, the little pocket pencil drones that will go under doors and stuff. It's been unrealistic for a while.
Gotcha.
And even the lighting, when it first came out, the lighting was very gritty, very dark.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and so they jumped up to this, which... Yeah, it's a lot brighter and it's not like as realistic, but fuck, you can see people.
Right.
So
yeah. It's a good trade-off.
Yeah, it's interesting. So, but for these fans, that's really cool. I think it's going to be really fun to watch this guy.
Already, I'm having a blast watch this guy, Kool-Aid Man, like you said, through the wall. So yeah.
Yeah, parkour. Only one that can do that. I don't know if the other guys can use the rappels through there. I didn't think they could. I thought you could just drop down from the hatch, so I think he's the only one that can go up, but I could be wrong.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he's just fun to watch.
Nice. Yeah, it's on sale all the time, Rainbow Six Siege, so I've yet to jump in, but maybe one of these days I will.
Is it not free to play?
I don't think it is yet, but I wouldn't doubt if they're kicking around that idea. Gavin, we have some different footage here of some cool looking games. So Star Renegades, this is not on my radar, and I kind of briefly look at some of this footage, and it looks really dope.
It's just gorgeous. Yeah, I know very little. Some of the map gives me vibes of... so it's a roguelite.
What's your jam?
Yeah, and it's got these turn-based battles, and people can die, so she's gonna die.
I like this really cool. There's a word for it, but it's like where the focus kind of shifts on your just like main platform and with the background. I like this.
Yeah,
this perspective. It's really cool, along with the 8-bit stuff.
It almost reminds me of Octopath Travel a little bit, but like,
oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, so she died, right, and now she's gonna get converted into a bad guy. Which is pretty
it's like
cool.
the Nemesis thing going on, or what was that?
But speaking of Nemesis thing, so we got this whole map here, and look at all this. Like, I imagine how you approach getting to the final boss is going to affect everything. These monsters are huge, or these enemies. Yeah, it's just pretty
nice. Are you definitely going to be playing this then?
I'm definitely going to try. I'm not the best at like these turn-based.
Okay, yeah. I tend to like a little bit more on stuff on the actiony side when it comes to this.
Right. But I mean, and I don't know how that works, and I don't know how that whole, if there is a Nemesis system, how that's going to affect it.
Sure.
But damn, dude,
yeah, it looks pretty fucking badass.
I will give it a shot just for the graphics alone.
Yeah.
I don't care. And yeah, this guy made it to the end. He's the only one in this trailer anyway, makes it to the end, and then
Great. I'm sure.
has to fight against his.
Oh, that original.
Yeah.
Wow. Nice.
I think he's like dropping tears a little. But yeah, that how fucking
What?
cool looking is that?
Raw
is
Fury, I
it-
think, is the dev. Oh, no, it's Massive Something is that dev.
Raw Fury is the publisher.
Yeah, there you go.
And I
Massive
looked up
Damage.
Massive Damage's previous games, and it looked bad.
Well, this is them. They're learning. They're
learning.
adapting.
They're going for another turn-based battle system.
Nice.
Yeah, it looks fantastic.
This even appeals to me, who is I'm just not necessarily a fan traditionally with this kind of stuff, and this already
no, yeah,
kind
neither
of
am I.
speaks out to
but
me.
Yeah, I think the universe looks cool. The robots and whatnot you're fighting.
Yeah.
That looks super cool. Knuckle Sandwich. So this is a. Did you see?
This
any
one makes
of
no
this?
sense to me. I watched like 30 seconds and I'm like, what's going on? I'm on board, but I have no idea what's going on.
Do we have the
Audio?
is this the proper trailer?
This is the one of the latest ones, so it's a
Yeah.
minute and a half, 2020 update.
So it's like an Earthbound, but with like mini games instead of a battle system, and it looks adorable.
I like that it seemed like from the trailer they're changing the gaming perspectives where like there's this 2D stuff and then there's these 3D cutscenes and it's pixelated and I don't know what the fuck's going on. But it's like
Right.
an acid trip almost.
Definitely an acid trip. I mean, any of these.
I like this almost like PlayStation 1 style cutscenes.
Right. Oh, I watched a streamer playing some of that. What was it? Cursed demo disc or whatever.
Oh yeah, I want to watch a
Fuck
show trailer
that.
of that. Oh
Fuck
really?
that. It's scary, but they're also like a lot of the movement was very slow paced, and it just creeped me out more.
Oh sure.
Yeah, it was creepy.
How did you find this game?
This
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Just in a dream it came to you?
It may have been posted in a news article about this new trailer. Yeah, people love these.
So I have no idea how you're.
I think that's how you're fighting them.
Choosing-
Like these
okay.
WarioWare style mini
Oh,
games.
interesting.
So yeah, we've got WarioWare combined with that looks like a tricky mini game.
Yeah.
So you got the weird Earthbound style storytelling with WarioWare.
That's great.
That's got me super hyped.
Yeah. Wow. What a great idea too.
Right? It's just like it's got to be crazy because like making a normal battle is going to be hard enough. This is so much more content per battle.
Yep.
So
Well, let's see what happens with this game. This is pretty dope.
yeah.
I wanted to shout out the dev. I know that his name was here for Knuckle Sandwich. So Andrew Brophy.
Andrew Brophy.
Yeah. So
Do you know them from something else?
what was that?
Do you know them from something else?
I do not.
You're not following Dom 2D, my guy.
Am I not?
Yeah, you gotta hit that
Who's who?
right there. One
Goldie?
down. One down.
Dom Today. I'll follow.
He does really cool illustrations.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah,
It's
definitely
super
check him out.
adorable.
Nice.
Like that. I want to get some of that shit tattooed.
That'd be
Like,
dope.
It's so cute. Yeah. So that's Knuckle Sandwich. Looks awesome.
You also love the spoopy games. This is another spoopy
This
game?
looks so spoopy. You gotta, yeah, we gotta turn up the volume a little bit.
Okay,
for this.
God.
This would be
Yeah, make sure I
Fonzie
switch up.
reacts.
Okay.
So you haven't seen this then?
No. It already sounds creepy. The Suicide of Rachel Foster is what it's called.
Yeah. It's big mood. It's coming out very soon.
Daedalic Entertainment? How do you pronounce that?
I think you got it right.
Okay. I'm notorious for not pronouncing these correctly.
What are you gonna
101.
The bad weather crossing Montana is amassing all the characteristics of an atypical storm. The bad turn is proving worse than expected.
Uh-oh. Maybe like The Shining a little bit. Mm-hmm. Getting some Shining vibes.
It's called growing up. Didn't think I still remembered all these little things. I left this place 10 years ago. I had no idea I would have to come back here.
The storm is dying down. You'll be able to leave soon and go back to your life.
Do you know if this is on console as well or PC?
I think it's everything.
Now, I'm a huge fan of The Shining, so I'm already on board.
Yeah.
This looks fucking dope. I'm sure it's gonna be terrifying.
You think he did this?
Sick. This is a... Get out of there.
Huh. Do you commit suicide? Interesting.
Yeah.
Got my attention, that's for sure.
Oh, it's creepy. I think it actually does coin itself as a walking simulator on the Steam page. But yeah, it's
I'm fine with that.
a horror walking simulator. Fuck.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Dude, so it's on Steam now. Okay, coming to Steam February 19th. I want to play this. I don't know if my PC will handle this, but
Probably not.
yeah, great. Yeah, Yinglet.
I think Yinglet was the last thing we had.
Yeah. But I don't know what that is. I'm trying to find. Okay, here we go. I got a trailer ready to go. And it says watch with the sound on. Gotcha. Whoa. Oh god, reminds me of Flow. Do you remember that PS4, PS3 game? This art style is really cool.
Yeah, the game designer is legendary. Niflas, he made Nit,
Mm,
which is way back when people weren't making indie games.
gotcha.
And he made this really cute, like Shadow of the Colossus vibe-ish game where you're just exploring and climbing
Huh.
and exploring and climbing, exploring and climbing. It's super duper fun. And he made a couple other cool stories, Nit stories. There's another cool game I can't remember the name of where your orbs.
I feel like I'm gonna have a hard time understanding the rules in the game. Of like what you can travel through, what you can't.
Right.
But I'm hoping that they just do a good job, slowly like showing you all this stuff. But it looks really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're some kind of amoeba, possibly.
I mean, it almost reminds me of you've seen like the
See, like
flat
this
world.
stuff.
Yeah.
Almost like you're on a CPU or something.
Right. Well, that's why I think flat world.
Okay, I haven't
Is
seen that.
theory of flat world about how like because we're in 3D.
Oh,
we
sure,
can
with
only
dimensions.
see stuff in 2D.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You got this teleporting ability. There's like a little laser you got.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I don't know if that's out now, but I do want to try that.
No, you can just wish list it.
Gotcha. Yeah, how big of a help does the wish listing do for a game? Exactly.
It's nice for me because there's so many games coming out. It's super easy to forget about stuff. So
Yeah.
especially lately, I've been wish listing everything, and then I come out.
Although-
I found out I have no time or money.
Sure.
It's at least nice to know, and I can go back to my wish list and see, and then you kind of redo your priorities.
What does that do for the dev though? What's the benefit? Like when they see all these wish lists, what does that translate on their end? Is it just how many people are interested?
It just helps get the word out,
Gotcha.
and like I get an email when it comes out,
Cool.
or if it goes on sale,
Oh, gotcha.
which
Okay.
is the other big thing. So yeah,
Nice.
it's on 50%. You're like, yeah.
There you go.
I'm gonna get that off my wish list and into my library, in which I'll never play it.
Well, at least they got paid for it, so
Yeah,
it's all good. Kevin, that's all I have for you this week.
yeah. I think the only thing I put on there that we didn't see, I'm not sure if it's really worth looking at.
Yeah, we
But
can talk about it.
Fire Emblem Three Houses Game Boy
Oh,
Advance hack.
I'm not super familiar with the Fire Emblem franchise.
Yeah, so it's definitely blown
That's
up.
not how you spell it, but I can't spell. So what's the deal with this Three Houses? Ashen Wolves has us root for underdogs.
Say,
Silicon
type
Era.
Three House GBA.
Gotcha. 3D House GBA. It's being
There you go.
demade to
So-
look more like older games. Interesting.
Yeah. Oh, is it not? It's not actually running on the. I thought it was an actual.
Demake. Fire Emblem Three Houses is being demade to look more like older games, as Luke Plunkett of Kotaku.
Yeah, because these games used to be on the Game Boy Advance.
Gotcha. FE Three Houses GB Demake is an attempt to entirely remake the game with retro pixel art, more in keeping with earlier games in the series. You can see it in action in the progress update below. It looks like the video might have been taken down. Yes, interesting.
I mean, you knew it was gonna happen.
Just like a takedown request or whatever.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Interesting. I wonder if there's an external way to find footage of this, but
Yeah. Probably
did you play these games when they were originally on GBA?
No, but yeah, the series super old.
Gotcha.
People
I
love
heard
it.
that
So
name
yeah,
forever,
that's it's kind of cool that people take a brand new entry in the series and kind of take it back to
Yeah. To its roots or where?
yeah, at least when it was really popular. I don't know if it was on NES or not. I think it was.
It's from GameSpot here, but I wonder if it's linked to the same video that's been taken down or it's their own.
They may have their.
There's no way it could be it.
No, that's just a trailer.
Yeah.
For the actual game. Yeah, it looks like it's taken down.
Interesting. Yeah, well, we had a window of time where we could see it, and I
Right.
guess we can't anymore.
But yeah,
Gotcha.
that's all I had.
Yeah, that's it. Nothing else happened in the video game news, so that's good.
Yeah,
We covered everything.
A lot of announcements, a lot of cool. Yeah. So
I can't wait to play some more Dreams and finally
Oof.
make my. Remember that game I was trying to tell you about? That Dad
Simulator.
simulator. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna make
You
it.
got to make Dad Simulator in Dreams.
You know, what I also think would be cool or dope to make Inspector Gadget in a video game. Like just having that ability to move around and use his cool gadget abilities and also like solve crimes. Like I don't know if there's a game already like that, but I want that.
Probably
to exist.
not.
I want
Closest
somebody to
thing
make.
we've got is Bionic Commando.
Yeah, that's true. Somehow that with Batman, and you might be onto something.
There we go. Oh God, Inspector Gadget.
Yeah.
Even his own Inspector Gadget games weren't that Inspector
I'm
Gadget.
I'm assuming you had him, but
He
I
definitely
never played
had
him.
Yeah, I don't think there were any of them were good. I think we would because that was back in the day when like
Right.
if there was a good cartoon video game like it was heard of and people had it.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So-
There was a one notorious developer or publisher is like RBG.
Yeah.
Has the rainbow thing on it.
JLN or something.
There you go. Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they probably made one and it was shit. But
Yeah.
so that's the next game I'm making Dreams too. I'm not going to make any money as we decided or understood now. But so I already Gavin won it there this week. Where can they find you on the interwebs?
You can find me on Twitter at DrunkDevs.
Awesome. You can find us also on Plastic Heart Pod on Twitter as well. That's it for us this week. We'll see you next week. Bye bye. Doodle-loop, doodle-loop, doodle-loop. Ah.